Hi everybody and welcome to my video. Today I'm going to harvest some honeysuckle here out in the wild. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about honeysuckle, all the amazing things that this herb can do for you. Now honeysuckle is grown in the wild here in Pennsylvania and most of the northern states. Honeysuckle is a cool herb. In other words, it's good for fevers, it's good for if you have bug bites, and it's good for all kinds of things that would be a hot infection. Honeysuckle is good for if you have a cold. It helps get phlegm out of your chest. Now I'm not a doctor or a nurse or anything like that, but I've been doing a lot of extensive research on honeysuckle. Today in this video I'm going to show you different ways to use honeysuckle. We're going to make a honeysuckle jelly, but you can also dry the honeysuckle and has it as a tea. Now I need a lot of honeysuckle, so it's going to take me a while to pick all of this, but I really wanted to show you what it looks like. This here is honeysuckle, and the yellower the flowers, the more ripe they are. So you really want to get the yellow flowers. Now it's high time that I get picking this because it's almost at the end of it season. Honeysuckle is an early spring crop, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to pick some. Now I need 4 cups of honeysuckle, which means that's a lot of flowers. So I'm not going to film all of this because it'll take me over an hour to get that many. I was hoping I could get enough to actually make some jam and jelly and to make some tincture with it. There are many ways that you can make and use honeysuckle. You can make it a tincture with vodka, with an alcohol, or you can make it in infused oil. Now I am going to be picking some of the white because simply I need all of the flowers I can get. Honeysuckle has an amazing scent to it. It's also good for sore throats and coughs. I don't know about interactions with other medications. That is something you're going to have to look up on your own. The Indians used this for coughs and pneumonia. The colonists brought this over. The Indians taught the colonists how to use it. Oh, it just smells so amazing. All right, I'll get back to you in a little bit. Right, I've moved my camera to a better location where I can pick some more of them. When picking your honeysuckle, if you get a few leaves in it, that doesn't matter. The leaves are also medicinal, but make sure you know what you're picking. You don't want to pick something that you think is honeysuckle and it happens to be something poisonous. Honeysuckle has that distinct honeysuckle scent to it. And I don't know about you, but do you remember as a child, you would pull the end off, and you would drink the juice of it? Oh my word, it's so good and sweet. Honeysuckle can be used instead of honey. Most of the things that we associate as weeds actually had a purpose at one time. In the 1800s, they planted honeysuckle near their outhouses because the honeysuckle would grow up over the outhouses and also give it a really good scent. That was something that I thought was really fascinating that I learned. All right, keep picking. Just like everything in life, you don't watch a YouTube video and then go out and do something blindly. You have to do some research. I don't know how honeysuckle would affect you. I don't know if you have an allergic reaction to it. I don't know if you're on medications. I don't know anything about that. I'm sharing with you the old ways, the old skills where people foraged. But you have to do your research. You have to make sure that you are actually picking honeysuckle. You have to make sure that you don't eat the berries. So the berries of the honeysuckle are really poisonous. You want to make sure that if you are going to make a tea with it, that you don't drink it daily. This is a medicinal herb. So in other words, you don't want to just go ahead and drink the tea every day, all day long. This is my go-to book. It's called Yard Medicine, and it teaches you a lot of things. So we're going to talk a little bit about honeysuckle. Those of you who have the book, it's on page 70. Honeysuckle is among the best loved wild garden plants. It has the sweetest and most intoxicating fragrance. It's attractive white, yellow, and red flowers. Now, I don't have any red flowered ones here, but I'm going to tell you a little bit what it says it's good for. So it's good for sore throats. So you can steep some of the flowers in honey and let it just soak there and marinate for weeks and weeks, and then you can strain it, and it's good for if you have a sore throat. Honey in general is good for a sore throat. They claim, when I say they, people who write the books, not me, that it helps with diabetes and it helps with blood sugar levels. But you have to do your research. For me, making jelly, and I'm going to be making some cough syrup, and I'm going to be making some tea for just different things. Also, it says in the book, it's good for UTI. Now, I don't get UTI, but it's good for the kidneys. And healthy, small doses. Like everything in life, God made these plants, but we have to be prudent and we have to be careful that we don't overdo it and that we don't abuse these plants that we have. Because in everything in life, if you do too much of it, it's not a good thing. You have to do your research. And if this is something that interests you, I suggest you get this book, and I'll share with you in the link below. Because this is a really good book because it shows pictures. So we have pictures in it, which is really nice. Now, I am not a big forager when it comes to things like I don't have no clue about. But do you remember as a child? Let me go pick one and show you what we used to do as children. Do you remember as a child, we would take the flower, break off the end. Oh my word, it tastes so good. We used to eat the flowers too. It's good, it's so sweet. Those of you who have no idea what honeysuckle is, you're missing out on a big part of life. It's just so good. It tastes like candy. Amazing. So a lot of these herbs, and they call it an herb in the book, so don't go by me. They call it an herb in the book. I guess anything medicinal or anything wild like that, I don't know, is considered an herb. Honeysuckle is also used for spasms in the respiratory system. In conditions such as asthma, croup, and bronchitis, it is antiseptic and effective against many microorganisms, reinforcing its value for sore throats and respiratory problems. It's a Chinese, and the Chinese use this a lot. They mix honeysuckle and skullcap for respiratory complaints. We favor the flowers steeped in honey, though a tea of the dried flowers is also good. You can also put it in a hot bath. Now that's something that's my idea too. That would be great to do. But I wanted to share with you while my tea, it's really a tea because I took the honeysuckle and now I'm soaking it in the water for 2 hours. And then we will strain that, add the sugar, and add the pectin, and voila, we have jelly. So the recipe is 2 cups of honeysuckle, 2½ cups of water, 2½ cups of sugar, 1/2 large lemon, 1/2 box of Sturgel. And I added some zest of an orange. So I added some zest of an orange. We're gonna boil the honeysuckle in the water for 2 hours. We're gonna boil the honeysuckle in the water and turn it off and let it steep for 2 hours. We're gonna drain through a filter, and then you add all this other stuff to it. It's like jelly. And then the jelly I'm gonna do is not a canning. I'm actually gonna do an open kettle method. We're gonna take the jars and we're gonna put them, it's an open kettle method. We're gonna take the jars and we're gonna put them upside down. So it's very simple. All right, everyone, I'll show you a little bit as I go through it because it's not really a teaching video per se. It's to make jelly, but this part of it I really wanted to show you. It's just foraging in the wild. There's so much, but you gotta know what you're doing and you gotta research and you gotta figure out if this is something that you wanna do. You know, not everybody's into things like this, but I'm in my glory when I'm out here, even though humidity is 97%. And they're calling for thunderstorms. So I wanted to get out here early and I want to work on this project, because some projects, if you don't work on it right away, like these flowers, some projects, if you don't work on right away, like these flowers, before you know it, the season is over. Because the window of opportunity for honeysuckle and wild things is real small. It's a real small window. You got to come out when it's ready. All right, everyone, I'll see you back in the kitchen when I work on the jelly. All right, I got about half a batch, so we have about 2 cups. That's going to be all right for what I'm using it for, to make the jelly. We're going to go ahead and make the jelly, and then probably next week I'll come out here in the wild and pick some more, and that will be for our tincture. But today we're going to make jelly. So I have my flowers. Oh, they smell so good. All right, so now I'm back at the house, and what I want to do is I want to go through this and get most of the leaves out. We don't want to have the leaves. Now, the honeysuckle leaves are okay to leave it in, but you just want to make sure you don't have other kinds of leaves in it. We're going to go ahead and we're going to add water and wash these flowers off. Back in the Depression days, people used what they had, and they went gleaning and foraging for things. All right, so I was wrong. I did have 4 cups of the flowers, and I strained it in the cheesecloth, and this gave me 4 cups of the tea. So this is the honeysuckle tea. We call it tea. Now we're going to go ahead and bring this to a boil and add 4 cups of sugar, and I'm going to add some liquid pectin because that is my favorite, and we'll use an envelope of that. And then we're pretty much done. So let me go ahead and I'll show you at the end.